Hello friends, welcome to yet another video on TutorialsPoint with me, Richa. Today we're going to talk about personal branding. Well, have you ever felt wherever you are going or whatever you are doing, people are always observing you and also making some or the other, kind of judgments about you? Well, today it's become very important to make sure that you as a brand stand out in the market, and that can only happen if you consistently work on your personal branding. Let's take a look at what is in store for us in this particular topic. Well, in this agenda, we will talk about what exactly do we mean by the word personal branding. We will also talk about what is the brand called you. We will also talk about ways of building this personal branding to the best of your advantage. Also talking about how do you use online and offline social media platforms in order to build your brand. We will also talk about how do you build your personal brand at your workplace, and also the do's and the don'ts of personal branding. Well, I'm very excited to teach you on this particular module, so let's get started right away. Well friends, what do we mean by the word personal branding? If I have to give you a definition of personal branding, well, earlier people used to follow self-improvement techniques in order to make sure that their brand is making the right kind of noise in the market. However, today people have started to make new concept of the word personal branding. Well, branding is what others perceive about you and your products and services, and today it's all about your presentation and your marketing. The way you market your brand, your packaging is very, very important. You need to walk the talk for your personal brand, because if there is any kind of loophole there, people will soon disconnect with your particular brand. Hence, personal branding is the need of the hour. Now let's understand what is the brand called you. Well, it is important that you need to, as I mentioned earlier, walk the talk. If it is all about you in your personal branding space, and let's take a look at it. What people perceive about you is your brand image. If you're making the kind of noise in the wrong manner, your brand image definitely gets affected. A successful personal brand image comes when you present yourself effectively, both on online as well as offline measures. It is also important that your personal brand is all about you, and also it matters what you do, how you do it, and why you're doing a particular thing. So there should not be any confusion or inconsistency about whatever you're doing to build the image of your brand. Now let's take a look at what are the different ways in which we can really build this personal brand image of ours. There are different ways. The first one is we need to seek opportunities. Let's take a look at what that means. Understanding your audience. Today it's all about how much you know about your audience, whether you know their strengths, the weaknesses, etc. You need to also make sure that you're bringing something exclusive to the table. There's so much competition in the world today. So what is your brand's USP, and what are you doing something different from the crowd? Standing out from the competition and also making sure you're grabbing the right opportunities. Expand your customer base by making sure that you're attracting the right kind of customers into your working space. And that's why it's important to seek opportunities in order to build your brand image. The next thing is you need to express yourself, and making sure that expressing yourself not in a negative manner or overdoing it, but also making sure that you're expressing yourself in the right direction. Hence, let's take a look at it. You need to make sure that you have an elevator pitch ready. Well, if you go on talking about your brand in an essay form or in a story method, what happens is people lose interest. As simple as that. You need to make sure that you're able to convince somebody about your brand by giving a small, kind of a elevator pitch about your brand. We will talk more about that in detail. Tell your audience what do you know about them. Also making sure that how you're able to effectively convince others that you're different from the rest of them. And tell them how you started and what all have you achieved thus far. That makes somebody really understand your brand in the right manner, and also it is a really effective way in order to build your brand. The next thing you need to do in order to build your brand image is by Making sure that you're asking questions. People love to be asked questions, and when you ask a question, you need to listen to them for their answers. So asking relevant questions helps you to understand your audience a little better. When you comprehend the situation better, it becomes easy to come up with the right solutions. Always give people something that they want, not something which you want to sell. Engage in staff meetings, conferences, events, etc. These are again ways to build your personal brand image. Now let's take a look at networking. Friends, networking is the most important thing in order to build your brand. You need to talk about your products and services and your personal brand. Well, if you don't, then who will talk about it? So networking is important. Make sure you are going out and meeting new people, getting out of your comfort zone, making sure that you are also maintaining your current connections, that you don't just kind of forget them. You also make sure that you keep connecting with them on a regular and consistent basis. Participate in as many conferences, product launch, seminars, webinars, etc. The more you are out there in front of the public, the more your personal brand really gets the kind of hits that it should. So it's important to get out of your comfort zone and network as much as you can. Also, now let's understand social media presence can make or break your personal brand image. Social media today has taken the world by a storm. Every single person, millions and millions of people are on social media today. So make sure that you're serving on different boards. You're actively participating in discussions which are happening on LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, etc. Make sure that you have a voice of your own and your opinions and ideas are there to share in front of people. Engage in both online as well as offline communities, and that's the essence of social media in order to build your brand image. Now let's take a look at what are the different ways in which you can have online use of social media in order to affect your personal brand. Well, prepare a positive message. Make sure that you are joining the right kind of groups. Again, here it becomes very important that you join the right groups, because that's where your connections, you will get new connections as well from there. Engage as regularly as you can. It should not be that one day you're on social media and then 6 months you have forgotten all about it, right? So it makes really important in order to make the right engagement with social media. Build outstanding content that you can post on your different social media platforms. Provide free advice as much as possible. People love things which are free, whether it's free products, services, or even free advice. So go on and try and understand how you can really help people, genuinely being interested in them and offering as many free advices that you can. Ask questions, and lastly, make sure that you're consistent on social media. As I mentioned some time back, do not be consistent for a day or a week and then forget about the next 8, 9, 10 months you are absolutely off social media. That should not happen. That is in fact very bad for your personal branding. Now it's important to understand how do you build a personal brand at your workplace. Own your space, that's important. Commit only that you can complete, because you are only as good as your work. So if you've told someone you will do something, make sure you do it and not overpromise and underdeliver. Dress it up. You need to make sure you're presentable enough at workplace. Your network matters and not just your company. Try and be as genuine and humble as you can at your workplace, because that is something that people really appreciate. People do not like people who are fake, but people like people who are genuine and nice about everything. Now let's talk about certain do's and don'ts of personal branding. First, we will start with certain do's of it. Well, always give meaningful inputs without hesitation. Now talking about social media. Get comfortable in front of the camera. If you have to make any videos, etc., make sure that you are absolutely confident in front of the camera. Avoid making mistakes or posting anything negative on your social media platform. Make sure that your online presence has limits and you abide by them. Be creative and stand out from the crowd. So if you want to post some things or some comments, do not just post something that everybody else is posting. Be a little different and stand out from the crowd. Keep challenging yourself to do better and better on personal branding. Now let's take a look at certain don'ts of personal branding. Don't fake it till you make it. It's important that even when you're promoting your personal brand, you do not talk anything negative or fake about it. Don't be afraid to share your wisdom, to share your content with others. Personal branding is not a sales pitch. Please remember that. Be humble and as down to earth as you can about your branding. You know what? It's really important that you don't harp about your brand so much. People get a little put off by that. So make sure that your personal branding is not a sales pitch that you want to really pitch to others. Also make sure that you don't make a scene online, no negative comments or no personal views about things. Avoid posting sensitive materials online. Well, that's something which we definitely don't want to do. So these are the list of don'ts you want to really encourage or rather discourage in order to have a good personal brand image. Well, to conclude this particular topic on personal branding, we have seen a lot about what is personal branding, the ways to build your personal brand. We've also talked about how you can have your own personal brand image at your workplace, certain do's and certain don'ts of personal branding. Well friends, I do hope you've enjoyed listening to this particular video as much as we have enjoyed teaching this to you. Keep watching, more videos coming your way. Till then, thank you very much.